maybe this is a good opportunity as well to get more into the benefits of cross-coupling technologies for pharma companies and how pharma companies can take advantage. Philipp, do you want to start with that one?
Sure. The big advantage in pharma industry definitely is that we want to enable, as already mentioned, a good toolbox for the industry and to make different technologies available. And if you think of, and that's maybe one very important thing to understand there as well. So for pharma industry as well, you're maybe looking for, let's say, a quick development, a quick finding and making a molecule available, because time to market is in pharma industry, from my understanding, the most important driver there. And the thing which is helping there is to work with somebody together who really have a good overview about let's say, important dominant technologies who can do cross-coupling catalysis, make a pre-selection, maybe not, and that's maybe the difference between an academic approach and pretty industrial approach, not having, let's say, an effective screening, which would mean you need to screen any possible catalyst you can think of, but an efficient screening, which is meaning that you really target to, let's say, dominant catalyst types which are in the toolbox. And that's exactly the opportunity we really offer, to being a little bit between the pharma applications and also trying to enable new cross-coupling catalysis technologies, that we want to make a pre-selection of new catalysts where we think, because of the feedback to academia, that they are beneficial for our customers, and bring those to the screenings. And from my perspective, any company which works with Umicore together has the maximized chance to really find, let's say, a very quick solution which is doing the job, the cross-coupling catalysis, in a very, very short time frame, because that's maybe the biggest pain which process developers in pharma have.
And then Nilay, what's your view on this?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've already discussed some of the main benefits of cross-coupling technologies, right? It's the fact that the chemistry is so reproducible, so reliable, and so likely to translate across systems. So when you change the substrate in a cross-coupling reaction, the probability is that it will work in a way which isn't true for other synthetic methodology. And I mean, that's why the Suzuki-Miura reaction is one of the most commonly used reactions in pharmaceutical chemistry. So I think I'd like to dive a little deeper into sort of one specific aspect of cross-coupling technology, which is something that Philipp alluded to earlier, which is these pre-catalysts, which have really come into vogue in the last 10 years, right? So what makes a good pre-catalyst? So you want something which is stable. You want something which you can keep on your shelf for 5 years and know that when you put it into the reaction mixture, it's going to give you the same performance as a freshly made pre-catalyst. You want something which is easy to synthesize. If it takes too many steps, it's going to be too expensive. So often ease of synthesis translates to a cheap pre-catalyst. You want something that is going to activate quickly, because most pre-catalysts are going to be palladium-2. You want it to be reduced from palladium-2 to the palladium-0 active species quickly and cleanly. And you want this to occur under a variety of different reaction conditions, so your pre-catalyst can be used for a number of different reactions. You also want this activation to occur using the reagents that are normally found in a cross-coupling reaction. So for example, if your cross-coupling reaction is the Suzuki-Miura reaction, it will use base. Therefore, if your pre-catalyst uses base, that is a big activate using base, that's a big advantage. And then you want your pre-catalyst to be compatible with a wide variety of ligands, and you want those ligands to be easy to ligate. So if we go back to the high throughput experiment example, what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to put in one common palladium source and then put in 12 or 24 or 96 different ligands to try and figure out what the best ligand for your reaction is. Because just like there is not one universal ligand which is going to be optimal for any generic type of cross-coupling reaction. The same thing is almost certainly true for pre-catalysts. We have different pre-catalysts now. We have systems which are based on allyl ligands. We have systems which are based on Buchwald's Pallada cycles. We have systems based on organs chemistry. And a priori, it's very difficult to predict which of these pre-catalysts is going to be the best for any reaction. We can come up with generic rules, but there isn't a formula, and it could vary for reaction to reaction. So you want to be able to rapidly screen ligands using one pre-catalyst scaffold, and then probably with your best ligand, you want to screen across a variety of pre-catalyst platforms. Okay, so that was my sort of answer to that question.
And then Viktoria, as you've been listening to all of this, is there anything you'd like to add to this point?
Yeah, so maybe back to the benefits of cross-coupling chemistry. I mean, we've talked a lot about that, and maybe I'd just like to add, I mean, we've heard about that it's so reliable and has such a broad scope, so it can easily construct derivatives of certain compounds, but also construct rather complex molecules from rather simple structures. One other thing that I like to mention is maybe that, and this is also why it became such a reliable protocol, is that over the past years, many voids in the protocols have been closed by new ligands coming up, and I mean, there has been a huge development in ligand design, but also by pre-catalysts. There are still certain areas which have problems which haven't been solved yet, but still coupling chemistry has become really a powerful method with reliable tools, protocols. So it's an easy to follow protocol for many different types of reactions. So you can easily construct a lot of different complex structures.
Mm.